At some point in time, the work-related quarantine is going to be lifted, and many of us who were working 9-to-5 jobs in an office building are going to be left with a choice. And that choice is to come back to work in the office or to stay home and try to be productive from our new home office. Now, for many industries like contractors or home services or retail, or people who are working like in a leasing office at an apartment complex, you're going to have to go back to work because your work requires you to either do something with your hands or to interact with people face to face. So you don't have much of a choice because that's just the job you signed up for. But for the rest of the corporate workforce, people who were doing work over the phone in front of a computer screen, when COVID happened, when the coronavirus happened, all of those people were now either asked to work from home. Unfortunately, a lot of them were fired or furloughed. I've got a whole other video on that. But now it became clear that you can do work from home. Now, this scares a lot of organizations because leading up to the coronavirus, most organizations, at least the ones that I've ever worked for, had a very strict policy about working from home. The answer was a very simple no. You cannot work from home. And unless you had like really strenuous circumstances like, medical illness or something that actually prevented you, like a disability, then you were forced to come to work every single day, report to the office, kind of do the whole clocking in and clocking out thing. And this was just the way things were. But when coronavirus happened, people were allowed to work from home, and a lot of people are being extremely productive when they work from home. Now, the issue with that is that this scares a lot of employers because it takes a lot of the control away from them that they were used to. My advice is, if you're an employer or a leader in today's economy, is try and find a way to let go of this control. People are finding themselves to be extremely happy because they get to do things that they normally weren't able to do. Like walk their dogs if they have to, spend more time with their family, their children, and do a lot of things that normally they would not be able to do because they were at work on any given day. Now, the concern that employers have, which I suppose I can understand, is that this environment allows for a lot of distractions. Right? If you can't watch and hover over somebody's screen on any given moment, then they might be watching a YouTube video or going on Facebook or Instagram, or going to make a sandwich or walking their dog for a few more minutes than they needed to. It takes away from the environment of control that so many employers were used to. And I think this is why so many employers had such a strict policy against working from home for all the years leading up to the coronavirus. The question that you should be asking yourself now is, if a person is working from home and they are proving to be productive and they are meeting their quotas, their guidelines, whatever expectations that they had set for themselves or expectations that you set for them, if they are meeting those requirements, then why shouldn't they be able to work from home? So that's question number one. Question number two is, if you can't physically observe someone watching, are you going to put rules and regulations together that are still going to be micromanaging them? For example, I know a lot of companies that have a very strict clock in and clock out rule. So even if the person is working from home, they still have to click buttons that show their boss that they were at their computer. And then now companies who are extremely micromanaging, and I'm vehemently against this, but I think it's important to put this out there, are actually putting timed sessions on people's computers where they monitor their keystrokes so that they see how many times a keystroke was pushed on any given day or between any given time frame. So like if you didn't push a keystroke until 9:15 and you were supposed to report to work at 9 a.m., then essentially you were 15 minutes late. There's a huge problem with this, and it relates a lot to fear. I did a video a while back about how your fear of change is crippling you in the workplace. And this is a perfect example of that. If you as an employer are putting measures in place to observe people's keystrokes or when they clock in, when they clock out, how much work they put in on the computer, how much time they spend away from their computer, that is really frightening, because if the person's doing their job, my advice is, who cares, right? I think it's okay to let go a little bit and not be so controlling. And I think what's happening is the coronavirus is showing us firsthand a really big lesson in humility, right? A lot of us, and this is myself included, I've been very guilty of this for many years, especially leading up to the coronavirus. I have been someone who assumed that if I can't observe you at work, then you must not be doing your work. But now so many people who aren't being observed at work are actually overproducing. So many salespeople are having their best months ever. So many people who have quotas and guidelines are having an incredible time doing their job and having fun doing it. This is a really simple, short video. My advice to you leaders out there is don't be afraid to let go of the reins a little bit. Please be mindful of what measures and controls you put in place. If somebody's working from home and they're doing their job, let them walk their dog for a few more minutes. Let them play with their children or hang out with their family for a few more minutes. If the job is being done, especially if the job is being exceeded, and you just have to let go of a little bit of control to make sure the job is being exceeded, let people have that wiggle room, because now you're contributing to their happiness, and happiness is contributing to more results and more profits.